Dangerously valuable does not mean loud, famous, or always right. It means hard to replace. People who are hard to replace set the rhythm of the room without shouting. They make others prepare before approaching. They are not carried by charm. They are carried by structure. Machiavellian's strategy for modern life is simple. Build a system that turns your effort into outcomes on a clock. Price your access like a scarce resource, and make every relationship live inside routes you control. That is the dark art. Calm rules, cold calendars, warm tone. Begin by choosing your field of value. Not everything you can do makes you valuable. Pick the result that others need repeatedly and define it in one sentence with a date. I deliver X by Y, stored at Z. Make your identity a promise with a timer. When your value is tied to a dated result, people stop negotiating your personality and start negotiating your schedule. The more you talk in outcomes and locations, the less you'll be dragged into debates about effort or vibes. The market pays for certainty, and you can manufacture certainty with structure even before money is flowing. Machiavelli wrote that methods must fit the time. I have repeatedly noted that the good or bad fortune of men depends on whether their methods of acting accord with the character of the times. Today's times reward people who turn chaos into sequence. That means reply windows instead of constant availability, change logs instead of memory fights, and exit notes instead of let me know if you need anything. Align with the time. Be the person whose day looks like rails, not like a hallway. Your first lever is access. Valuable people protect access before feelings. Pick 2 or 3 reply windows per day and publish them once, in your welcome note, signature, and onboarding doc. Then prove them with behavior. Messages outside the window get processed inside the window, no apology needed. If a partner truly needs speed, you have a rush path at a price. Quietly, you train the room to time their asks. This is not arrogance, it is quality control. Brains that never rest produce confused work. Brains that move on cadence produce results you can show. Now make a one-pass reset your ritual for big course changes. If your current rules were built when you were desperate, replace them in a single clean cut. New hours, new revision caps, new prices, new handoff process, new archive cadence. Announced once, dated, then enforced without drama. Weak systems try to ease in new standards with 10 soft messages. Strong systems reset once and return to work. A one-pass reset is a kindness to your future self and a signal to the room that your value sits inside rules, not inside guilt. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I anchor my value in dates, routes, and receipts. Price is part of the map. People will test you where the map is fuzzy. Tie money to access and speed so there is nothing fuzzy to test. Base tier, async reviews, replies inside your window, 2 revisions, documented handoffs. Premium tier, weekly call, accelerated replies, limited off-hours escalation. Rush and weekend, by exception only, at a rate that protects quality. Extras never slide under the door. They move to a second block at a later date and a higher price. You don't give free to win respect. You give clarity to win trust. Clarity earns better rooms and bigger work. Build a corridor for every request so conversations stop scattering. Updates stay in DMs. Edits stay in the doc. Files live in the shared folder. Calls live on the calendar, and money lives on the invoice. When someone tries to push scope through a voice note or a wall of texts, you root, not rage. Please add this to the doc, I'll review in the window. The second time they skip the corridor, your escalation ladder prints itself. Reminder, reduced access, pause, clean exit. Predictable steps are mercy for both sides, and mercy is remembered when budgets grow. Machiavelli warned that humility against insolent actors fails. Order beats show. You shall often find that humility is not merely of no service to you, but is even hurtful, especially when used in dealing with insolent men. Translate that to modern terms. Don't try to charm chaos. Structure it. Be courteous in tone and exact in terms. If a call overruns, the next call ends at minute 28 with a written handoff. If payment is late, work pauses until receipt. Predictability feels cold to people who live on impulse. It feels safe to the ones who fund you. Appearances are a performance of order. You don't need expensive gear. You need consistency. Exact file names with dates, a single link that always holds the latest version, punctual starts and clean endings, steady frame and clear mic. Rooms test people who look disorganized because disorganization suggests easy leverage. Rooms fund people who look finished because finished suggests lower risk. Let your screen show a person who keeps promises visible. Convert live time into artifacts. Keep calls short and surgical. 2 days a week, 30 minutes each, ending with a one-paragraph handoff. What we're doing, by when, where it lives, who owns next. Post the handoff immediately. When later disputes appear, artifacts beat memory. Memory makes you argue. Artifacts make you valuable. Clients rehire artifacts. Teams accelerate with artifacts. Your future self thanks you for artifacts. Design a visible pipeline that kills, "Can you squeeze this?" Ask yourself, what is committed this week, with dates? And what is queued, approved extras with start dates and prices? Share a read-only view. When someone pushes, point to committed and to their place in queued. Pointers replace debates. Debates drain focus. Focus is where value lives. Guard mornings like a treasury. Build first, then read. If something truly merits the morning, it meets rush policy. Most emergencies evaporate when they meet a price and a clock. The morning is where high-quality compounds. Sell it cheap, and you will spend afternoons repairing preventable mistakes. Write like a governor. Subject lines that decide, not tease. Dated promises in the first sentence. Links to the latest version, not see above. If a message gets long, lead with the decision, the date, and the location. Then add context below. People will call you cold when you stop donating paragraphs. Let them. Cold in style, warm in delivery, exact in terms. That is the balance that reads as powerful to serious partners. Calibrate generosity so it strengthens your system instead of dissolving it. Surprise polish after delivery for partners who respected the map. A small loom to preempt confusion. A helpful note that saves them time. All of this happens inside the frame, after scope, and never as a substitute for a price. Generosity inside the frame builds reputation. Generosity instead of the frame builds resentment. Leave this affirmation below. Calm voice, hard terms, results on schedule. Make treaties when you must bend. A treaty states start, end, price, and one line that the exception does not change policy. A good partner can earn a gate opening during a launch week or a true crisis. The gate closes by paper, not by wish. Without treaties, just this once becomes the new law and your value erodes under friendly pressure. End every delivery with a clean exit. 5 lines, always. What shipped, where it lives, who owns next, archive date, path to the next paid block. Never end with, "Let me know if you need anything." That sentence is an open tab for chaos. The exit is your seal. Seals make you trustworthy because they say, "I finish, I document, I move." Trust is a better currency than likes, and seals mint it. Track 5 numbers each week to prove value to yourself. Promises made. Promises kept. Promises rescheduled by written agreement. Percent of extras billed into second blocks. Hours protected for build. If something dips, change a rule, not a mood, shrink scope, move calls, restate the rate card, reassert the corridor. Numbers remove self-gaslighting. When you can show your value to yourself, others see it faster. This is the dark art in clean daylight. Choose a result, put it on a clock, run your day on windows and corridors, price speed, reset in one pass, and exit clean. Be warm in tone and strict in sequence. You won't win every person, but you will win the rooms that can actually pay. That is how you become dangerously valuable. Your presence lowers risk, your process raises speed, and your exits leave no smoke. Dangerous value grows when your work removes risk on a schedule. Rooms pay the person who makes outcomes predictable and drift expensive. You don't need louder claims. You need rails that hold under pressure. Reply windows. A change log that prices extras. A rate card that ties speed to money. AI ladder that de-escalates chaos into steps, and clean exits that seal each phase. This part turns those rails into a daily operating code you can enforce without heat. Start by hardening your promise into a visible pipeline. Keep 2 lists that anyone can see. Committed, this week with dates, and queued, approved extras with start dates and prices. Share a read-only link with stakeholders. When someone asks, "Can you squeeze this today?" you point to committed, then to their slot in queued. Pointers replace debates. Debates burn attention. Attention is your rarest asset. Treat it like capital. Route every input through a corridor. Updates live in DMs. Edits live in the doc. Files live in one folder with dated names. Calls live on the calendar. Money lives on the invoice. When someone tries to push scope through a voice note or a private chat, you don't argue. You route, "Please add this to the doc. I'll review in the window." If they skip the corridor twice, start the ladder. Reminder, reduced access, pause, clean exit. The ladder is mercy because it is predictable and short. Shorten your live time and multiply your artifacts. Put calls on 2 days, cap them at 30 minutes, and end each with a 1-paragraph handoff. What we're doing, by when, where it lives, who owns next. Post it before you leave the room. Artifacts beat memory. Memory invites theater. Rooms that live on theater don't fund well. Rooms that run on artifacts hire again. Make reply windows do the cognitive heavy lifting. Choose 2 or 3 windows per day. Messages answered outside them teach people that your day is up for grabs. Messages answered inside them teach the opposite. You aren't being slow. You're being sovereign. If speed is truly needed, speed has a price. Publish the rush path once and behave like it exists. Most emergencies vanish at the gate when they meet a clock and a rate. Lock in a 1-pass reset ritual for structure drift. When your rules degrade, off-hour replies, extras sliding in, calls that spill, don't send 10 soft reminders. Send 1 decisive reset with new hours, revision limits, where edits live, late fee policy, archive cadence, and the effective date. Then enforce with calm repetition. There will be noise for a week and quiet for a year. Quiet compounds into reputation, price behavior, not just deliverables. Underpricing buys you flattery and drift. Correct pricing buys you respect and focus. Base tier covers outcomes with replies inside your windows and 2 revisions. Premium adds a weekly call and accelerated replies. Rush and weekend handling exist by exception and at a rate that protects quality. Extras are never quick favors. They move to a second block with a later date and a higher price. When your number and your access match, the room calibrates itself. When they mismatch, the room tests you. Separate circles so your judgment doesn't fog. Work lives in project threads and calendars. Friends live after hours. Family has one emergency route. If a business ask lands in your private channel, redirect once. If a friend unloads during your build block, offer a time after 6. Role switching fatigue is where most leaks start. Clean lanes keep decisions sharp. Machiavelli wrote a rule that matters for maintenance. For a sector commonwealth to last long, it must often be brought back to its beginnings. Read this as a cadence for your system. Regularly return to the original terms that made you steady. Clear scope, priced speed, tight handoffs, visible exits. When decay appears, bring the day back to the beginning, not to your feelings. Turn pressure into scripts so you never improvise when tired. 3 lines to keep ready. Delay. Change logged. New delivery. Friday 16 high. Latest file at the shared link. Review window closes Monday. Scope. This request is outside scope, adding to the second block with start date and estimate attached. Payment. Invoice outstanding. Work pauses. We resume on receipt. Scripts stop you from writing essays when a decision is needed. Guard mornings like a treasury. Build first, then read. The hours before noon should fund the week. Hard thinking, core production, design choices that reduce rework. If something truly needs that slot, it meets the rush policy. Most fires die at the gate when they encounter price and clock. The few that survive pay for themselves. Appearances cut testing in half. Exact file names with dates. A single link that always holds the latest version. Punctual starts and clean endings. Steady frame. Clear mic. You don't need luxury. You need consistency. People test soft edges. People fund sharp lines. Let your presentation carry your boundaries before you say a word. Write like a governor, not a guest. Subject lines that decide. Dated promises in the first sentence. Links to the latest version, not see above. If a message gets long, lead with the decision, the date, and the location. Context follows. You're not trying to sound impressive. You're trying to make the future unambiguous. Generosity belongs inside the frame. Add a small polish after delivery for partners who respected the map. Share a quick loom to prevent confusion. Send a small working notes doc that saves them time on their side. These touches build reputation because they arrive after scope, not instead of price. Free inside the frame builds trust. Free instead of the frame builds contempt. When you must bend, write a treaty. A treaty has a start, an end, a price, and one line stating the exception does not change policy. Treaties let you adapt without dissolving. Without them, just this once becomes the new law. Machiavelli also warned about the cost of starting fights casually. Wars begin when you will, but they do not end when you please. Translate this for work. Don't accept urgent scope or off-window calls casually. Starting a detour is easy. Exiting cleanly is hard. Before you say yes, put it on the card or in a treaty, then proceed. Finish every phase with a seal, not a smile. 5 lines close it. What shipped? Where it lives? Who owns next? Archive date. Path to the next paid block. Then you stop writing. If they return with one small tweak, you point to the seal and the changelog. You aren't cold. You are complete. Completion is the brand serious rooms buy. Maintain like a small state. Each week, check 5 numbers. Promises made, promises kept. Promises rescheduled by written agreement. Percent of extras build into second blocks. Build hours protected. If something dips, change a rule, shrink scope, move calls, restate the rate card, reassert the corridor. Maintenance prevents self-gaslighting. You don't need to feel in control when your dashboard proves you are. Keep using the same rails until rooms stop trying to move you and start moving around you. That's the point where value turns dangerous. You lower risk with your process, Raise speed with your cadence and end clean with receipts. People can replace talent. They rarely replace predictable outcomes on a clock. Becoming dangerously valuable is not about being everywhere. It's about being precise, scarce, and predictable. Scarcity comes from controlled access. Precision comes from clear outcomes. Predictability comes from schedule and receipts. When these three move together, rooms stop treating you like a replaceable pair of hands and start planning around your method. You do not chase respect. You make disrespect expensive. Start with your core promise and make it visible. Write one sentence that names the result you deliver, where it lands, and when it's due. Keep that sentence on your proposal, kickoff doc, and exit note. I deliver X by Y, stored at Z. When questions arise, point back to this sentence. Talking in outcomes and locations turns drama into logistics. Logistics are calm. Calm earns trust faster than charisma. Guard your sharp hours like a treasury. Build first, then read. Place your hardest work in a protected morning block. Calls and inbox come later. If something truly needs the morning, it meets your rush policy. Most emergencies evaporate when they hit a clock and a price. The few that remain deserve your best focus. That is how quality compounds. Set reply windows and let behavior teach the rule. Publish 2 or 3 windows per day. Answer inside those windows every time. Messages outside the windows return inside the windows, with no apology. People who need faster access can buy it on the premium tier. People who don't will adapt. A steady cadence makes you look confident because you are no longer making 1,000 tiny decisions. The rule decides for you. Document movement as it happens. Keep a living change log. Every new request gets a date, a cost, and a start slot. At handoff, attach the log to your delivery note. If someone returns with one quick tweak, paste the line from the log and the next date. No debate, just the route. Receipts replace memory fights and shield your focus. Machiavelli wrote a hard premise that keeps your map realistic. All those who have written upon civil institutions demonstrate that whoever desires to found a state and give it laws must start with assuming that all men are bad and ever ready to display their vicious nature whenever they may find occasion for it. Read this as, build systems that work even when pressure and self-interest show up. Your rules should not rely on perfect behavior. They should make poor behavior unprofitable. Design your corridor so every input uses the same route. Updates in DMs, edits in the doc, files in one folder with dated names, calls on the calendar, money on the invoice. When someone tries to run scope through a voice note or late-night chat, you don't explain boundaries. You reroute. Please add this to the doc, I'll review in the window. If they skip the corridor twice, escalate by the ladder you already wrote. Reminder, reduced access, pause, clean exit. Short, predictable steps end more conflict than long speeches. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I make drift expensive and outcomes cheap. Move from time for everyone to access by tier. Base tier buys outcomes with replies in your window and 2 revisions. Premium tier buys a weekly call and faster replies. Rush and weekend support exist by exception at a price that protects quality. When access has a label and a cost, entitlement drops. People respect what you repeat and what you charge. Shorten live time, multiply artifacts. Calls live on 2 days and end at minute 28 with a 1-paragraph handoff. What we're doing, by when, where it lives, who owns next. Post it before you leave the room. This ritual turns talk into a trail. Trails build trust because they let everyone see progress without noise. Build a visible pipeline to kill. Can you squeeze it today? Keep 2 lists. Committed, this week with dates, and queued, approved extras with start dates and prices. Share read only. When someone pushes, point to committed and to their place in queued. Pointers replace arguments. Arguments drain attention. Pointers conserve it. Price behavior, not just features. Underpricing invites side doors, off-hour pings, tiny extras, 5-minute calls that run 50. Tie your number to speed and touch. If someone wants you to break your build block, that's a treaty with start, end, and cost, plus one line that the exception does not change policy. Treaties let you bend without dissolving. Run a one-pass reset when decay spreads. Signs of decay. You're replying at all hours. Calls are drifting. Files are scattered. Invoices are floating. Don't negotiate 10 tiny fixes. Send one decisive message with new hours, revision caps, where edits live, late fee policy, archive cadence, and the effective date. Then enforce without heat. The noise lasts a week. The order lasts a year. Write like a governor. Subject lines that decide, not tease. Dated promises in the first sentence. Links to the latest version, not see above. If you must write long, lead with decision, date, and location. You are not trying to win with adjectives. You are moving a project with nouns and timestamps. Appearances reduce testing. Exact file names with dates. A single link that always holds the latest version. Steady frame, clear mic, punctual starts, clean endings. Rooms test what looks loose. Make your edges look straight, and they will test you less. It is not vanity. It is risk control. Machiavelli offered another cold reminder. Old injuries can never be canceled by new benefits, and the less so when the benefits are small in proportion to the injury inflicted. Don't try to repair a bad agreement with free work or extra access. Renegotiate in writing to terms that protect delivery, then proceed. Respect grows when you protect the system, not when you overgive. Keep circles separate so your judgment stays clean. Work lives in projects and calendars. Friends live after hours. Family has a clear emergency path. If a business ask lands in your private channel, redirect once. If a friend tries to unload during your build block, offer a time after 6. Role switching fatigue is where most bad decisions happen. Clean lanes make good decisions automatic. Turn pressure into scripts so you don't improvise when tired. Delay. Change logged. New delivery Friday 16. Latest file at the shared link. Review window closes Monday. Scope. Outside scope. Adding to the second block with start date and estimate attached. Payment. Invoice outstanding. Work pauses. We resume on receipt. Scripts save your energy for the work. The calmer the script, the faster the room accepts it. Calibrate generosity so it strengthens your frame. You can add a tiny polish after delivery or share a quick loom to help a partner avoid mistakes, but only after scope is complete and only for people who respected the map. Free inside the frame builds reputation. Free instead of the frame builds contempt. Close every phase with a seal, not a smile. 5 lines end it. What shipped? Where it lives? Who owns next? Archive date. Path to the next paid block. Then stop writing. If they come back with one quick tweak, you point to the seal and the change log. You are not cold. You are complete. Completion is the habit that makes you hard to replace. Leave this affirmation below. Calm voice, firm terms, proof on a date. Maintain like a small state. Each week, check 5 numbers. Promises made, promises kept, promises rescheduled by written agreement. Percent of extras build into second blocks. Build hours protected. If one dips, change a rule. Shrink scope, move calls, restate the rate card, or reassert the corridor. Numbers stop. Self-gaslighting. When you can show yourself your value, others see it faster. Hold these rails long enough and rooms will adjust around you. Drift will fall. Better work will find you. Your days will grow quieter because your system speaks for you. That's dangerous value. You lower risk by how you work. You raise speed by how you schedule. And you leave no mess when you exit. The result is demand that follows you. Not just for your talent, but for your method. Dangerous value is quiet power that repeats. At this stage, you're not proving yourself. You're structuring yourself so others must plan around you. That means your value is no longer an argument. It's a schedule. Your rails, reply windows, corridors, second block pricing, one-pass resets, and clean exits need to run with almost no willpower. When the rails carry the weight, you stop burning energy on enforcement and spend it on design, judgment, and delivery. Tighten posture before policy. Posture is what your behavior teaches without words. Messages answered inside windows, calls capped by the clock, files dated and filed, change logs updated in real time, exits sent before you leave the desk. If posture contradicts policy, if you preach boundaries but answer at midnight, people will believe posture. So lock posture first. Calm rhythm defeats loud pressure because rhythm refuses to accelerate for moods. When pressure spikes, public blame, last-minute scope, tool failure, move from narrative to ledger. Narrative is who felt what. Ledger is who did what, by when, and where it lives. Post 3 lines and return to build. The change log entry, the new delivery time, and the file location. You do not match volume. You widen clarity. Rooms side with timestamps because timestamps travel better than speeches. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I replace moods with maps and let the map speak. Publish boundaries inside the work so you don't spend words restating them. Your proposal shows included, not included up front. Your deck footer lists revision limits and handoff date. Your signature carries reply windows and the premium escalation path. Your delivery note always ends with ownership transfer, archive date, and the door to the next paid block. When rules live in documents, pushback feels unprofessional, not personal. Most partners self-correct to avoid looking sloppy. Use price to defend attention. Underpricing invites tests, off-hour pings, just this once calls, weekend grabs. Tie money to speed and touch. Base tier, async reviews, replies in the window, 2 revisions. Premium tier, weekly call, accelerated replies, limited off-hours escalation. Rush and weekend, by exception only, price to protect quality. When speed is scarce and expensive, fake emergencies die at the gate. Shorten live time, multiply artifacts. Put calls on 2 days, cap at 30 minutes, and end with a handoff paragraph. What we're doing, by when, where it lives, who owns. Next, post it before you leave the room. Artifacts beat memory. Memory invites theater. People who fund serious work prefer artifacts because artifacts lower their risk. Build a visible pipeline that kills, can you squeeze it today? Keep 2 lists. Committed, this week with dates, and queued. Approved extras with start dates and prices. Share read-only. When someone pushes, point once. First to committed, then to their slot in queued. Pointers replace arguments. Arguments drain attention. Pointers conserve it. Machiavelli wrote, "In all their actions, even in those which are matters of necessity rather than choice, prudent men will endeavor so to conduct themselves as to conciliate goodwill." Translate this as packaging your hard edges as service to delivery. Revised hours framed as reliability. Revision caps framed as quality control. Archive cadence framed as protection for both sides. The move is firmness wrapped in usefulness. Design a small escalation ladder and publish it once. Step 1. reminder of terms. Step 2, reduced access, async only, slower replies, no live calls. Step 3, work paused until alignment returns. Step 4, clean exit with 5 lines. What shipped, where it lives, who owns next, archive date, path to the next paid block. Ladders are mercy because they replace mood with steps. Predictability is the currency of serious rooms. Harden your environment so your rules obey themselves. Device focus modes during build windows. Calendar buffers so you can write the handoff before your next call. Email rules that auto-file project mail into the correct thread. A template stack, proposal, changelog, exit note, late fee, rush policy, naming rule. So decisions ship in minutes, not hours. You're not aiming for heroics, you're aiming for boring. Boring systems are a luxury for thinkers. Reward the behavior you want with access, not speeches. Faster previews for partners who respect Windows. Priority slots for teammates who hand off clean. Early renewals for clients who close loops. Culture is set by what you reward, not by what you post. Reward clarity and your days get lighter. Reward charm and your days get expensive. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Calm cadence, hard gates, results on a date. Treat exceptions as treaties. A treaty has a start and end date, a price, and one line that the exception does not change policy. If you open a gate for launch week or a genuine emergency, you close it with paper. Without treaties, just this once becomes the new law and your value erodes under friendly pressure. Guard mornings like a treasury. Build first, then read. If something truly belongs in the morning, it meets rush policy. Most fires die when they hit a price and a clock. The few that remain deserve your best hours. Mornings fund quality, afternoons ship it, nights rest it. Protect that math. Keep your language surgical. Subject lines that decide. Dated promises in the first sentence. Link to the latest version instead of see above. If a message grows long, lead with decision, date, location. Context follows. You are not trying to impress. You are trying to remove ambiguity. Ambiguity is where drift breeds. Maintain like a small state. Each week, scan 5 numbers. Promises made. Promises kept. Promises rescheduled by written agreement. Percent of extras billed into second blocks. Build hours protected. If one dips, change a rule, not a mood. Shrink scope, move calls, restate the rate card, or reassert the corridor. Numbers stop self-gaslighting. When you can prove order to yourself, others feel it faster. Machiavelli wrote from the logic of strategy, not sentiment. What benefits the enemy harms you, and what benefits you harms the enemy. Apply this to focus. Anything that benefits chaos, open weekends, free rushes, endless live time, harms your outcomes. Anything that benefits your cadence, reply windows, price speed, documented exits, harms chaos. Choose the benefit that compounds. When blame goes public, never perform. Shift the room from adjectives to timestamps, what was agreed, what was delivered, where it lives, and the next paid step. Attach the receipt. Invite the path forward. Screenshots favor clerks over performers. Be the clerk who closes loops. End every phase with a seal, not a smile. 5 lines, what shipped, where it lives, who owns next, archive date, path to the next paid block, and stop writing. If they return with one tiny tweak, you point to the seal and the changelog. You're not cold, you're complete. Completion is what dangerous value feels like to the buyer. Low risk, high predictability, clean record. Dangerous value is a system that survives pressure. By now your map has reply windows, corridors for every request, price speed, one-pass resets, and clean exits. The last move is endurance. Keeping these rails steady when cash is thin, deadlines slip, blame goes public, or a partner tries to pull you back into chaos. Endurance is not talent, it's maintenance, receipts, and cadence that refuses to bargain with moods. When your rails keep running under stress, rooms start planning around you. That is when you become hard to replace. Start with pressure drills so decisions ship even when you're tired. Keep 3 scripts in your clipboard. Delay script. Change logged. New delivery. Friday 16. Latest file at the shared link. Review window closes Monday. Scope script. This request is outside scope, adding to the second block with start date and estimate attached. Payment script. Invoice outstanding. Work pauses. We resume on receipt. Scripts replace adrenaline with procedure. Procedure keeps your tone low and your terms hard. Convert live time into artifacts every single time. Calls end at minute 28 with a 1-paragraph handoff. What's happening? By when? Where it lives? Who owns next? Post it before you leave the room. If disagreement appears later, the artifact beats memory. Memory invites theater. Serious rooms don't want theater. They want trails that lower risk. Make your rate card the shield that prevents argument. Base tier buys outcomes, 2 revisions, and replies inside your window. Premium buys a weekly call and accelerated replies. Rush and weekend are exceptions with a price that protects quality. When someone asks for 5 minutes now, you point to the card. You are not cold. You are exact. Exactness makes meetings shorter, deliveries cleaner, and partners calmer because they know the cost of speed and the value of waiting. Treat exceptions as treaties, so flexibility never dissolves your core. A treaty has a start date, end date, price, and one line stating, the exception does not change policy. You can open the gate for a launch week or true crisis, but the gate must close by paper, not by guilt. Without treaties, just this once becomes the new law, and your method erodes under friendly pressure. Build a small, visible pipeline that kills, can you squeeze this today? Keep committed. This week with dates. And queued. Approved extras with start dates and prices. Share rate only. When someone pushes, point to committed, then to their position in queued. Pointers replace debates. Debates burn attention. Pointers conserve it. Attention is the fuel that makes you valuable. Don't light it for sport. Harden posture before you broadcast policy. Posture is what your behavior teaches without words. Messages answered inside windows. Calls capped by the clock. Files named with dates. Change logs updated in real time. Exits written the same day. If posture contradicts policy, if you answer at midnight while preaching boundaries, people will believe posture. Rhythm persuades faster than rhetoric because rhythm is proof. When pressure spikes, public threads, late scope, failing tools, shift the room from narrative to ledger. Narrative is who felt what. Ledger is who did what, by when, and where it lives. Post the changelog line, the new delivery time, and the file location. Invite the path for extras, then go back to the build window. The more the room demands feelings, the more you feed it timestamps. Screenshots favor clerks, not performers. Machiavelli wrote a rule that fits this discipline. The wise are wont to say, and not without reason or at random, that he who would forecast what is about to happen should look to what has been. Since all human events, whether present or to come, have their exact counterpart in the past. Use this to design your resets and ladders. Don't invent heroic fixes each time. Copy the last clean fix that worked and run it sooner. Patterns beat improvisation. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect access, price speed, and let receipts speak. Guard your mornings like a treasury. Build first, then read. The highest return hour funds the rest of the day. Sell it cheap and you'll spend the afternoon repairing preventable mistakes. If something truly merits the morning, it meets rush policy. Most emergencies die at the gate when they meet a clock and a price. The few that remain pay for themselves and deserve your best mind. Make appearances do half the enforcement. Exact file names with dates. One link that always holds the latest version. Punctual starts. Clean endings. Steady frame. Clear mic. Simple background. You don't need luxury. You need consistency. People push what looks movable. Sharp edges get tested less because they look expensive to move. Price behavior, not just deliverables. Underpricing invites boundary tests, off-hour pings, tiny extras, and meandering calls. When your number and your access match, people calibrate themselves. When they mismatch, you'll spend energy defending lines instead of building outcomes. Your goal is to shift the room from asking for exceptions to booking capacity like adults. Keep circles separate so judgment stays clear. Work lives in project threads and calendars. Friends live after hours. Family has a single emergency path. When a business ask lands in your private channel, redirect once. When someone tries to unload during your build block, offer a time after 6. Role switching fatigue is where most boundary leaks begin. Clean lanes make good decisions automatic. Machiavelli warned from a soldier's view, not a poet's. Without doubt, ferocious and disordered men are much weaker than timid and ordered ones. For order chases fear from men, and disorder lessens ferocity. Translate this to your craft. Repeatable order beats noisy talent over time. Your rails turn stress into sequence. Sequence turns fear into work. Design rewards so culture enforces itself. Faster previews for partners who respect windows. Priority slots for teammates who hand off clean. Early renewals for clients who close loops on time. Culture is set by what you reward, not what you post. Reward clarity and your days get lighter. Reward charm and your days get expensive. Publish boundaries inside the work so you stop restating them. Your proposal shows included, not included, on page 1. Your deck footer lists revision limits and handoff date. Your signature states reply windows and the premium escalation path. Your delivery note ends with ownership transfer, archive date, and the door to the next paid block. When rules live in documents, pushback feels unprofessional, not personal. Most people self-correct. Leave this affirmation below. Calm cadence, hard gates, results on a date. Maintain like a small state. Each week, check 5 numbers. Promises made, promises kept, promises rescheduled by written agreement. Percent of extras build into second blocks. Build hours protected. If a number dips, change a rule, not a mood. Shrink scope, move calls, restate the rate card, or reassert the corridor. Numbers prevent self-gaslighting. You don't need to feel in. Control when your dashboard proves you are. If blame goes public, never perform. Anchor the thread to evidence. What was agreed, what was delivered, where it lives, and the next paid step. Attach the receipt. Invite the path forward. You aren't dodging emotion. You are refusing to drive with it. The car runs on clocks and records. Clocks and records travel well. End every delivery with a seal, not a smile. 5 lines close it. What shipped, where it lives, who owns next, archive date, path to the next paid block. Then stop writing. If they return with one tiny tweak, you route it to the second block with a date and a price. You are not cold, you are complete. Completion protects next week from last week's ghosts. Hold these rails long enough, and the room will change around you. The loud will leave. The exact will stay. Your calendar will feel heavier with work that matters and lighter with noise you used to carry. That's the dark art in daylight. Calm rules. Priced access. Proof on a date. It looks unfair from the outside because it is rare. It is not luck. It is maintenance.